Hey, just Mark here. All right, so tonight I had actually a really good conversation with someone about setting boundaries in your life, and it got me kind of thinking. Like, some people, and myself included, feel guilty about setting boundaries. You feel bad, you feel you might hurt someone, but I kind of wanted to talk about things that we should never feel guilty about. You should never feel guilty about in your life. And one of them actually is setting healthy boundaries. Sometimes you need to keep your peace by setting boundaries with people, whether it's things you'll do, things you won't do, things you'll accept from other people, things you will not accept. I know, for example, that when it came to my health earlier on, I had to set some boundaries and make, exercise and healthy eating a priority. And as soon as I let those boundaries flounder, I was unhealthy. I was miserable. I was sluggish, and I fell into old habits. So that's definitely, that's definitely something that was important. And some people got annoyed when I prioritized my health. And that's just mainly because it impeded on time they wish they had, or time that they would use me for. So yeah, that's kind of, why I think you should never feel guilty about setting boundaries, or especially healthy boundaries, because at the end of the day, you are your number one priority, and no one else is going to put you first. You need to. And if you don't, people take advantage of that. The other thing that kind of came up in the conversation was taking care of your mental health and prioritizing it. This is something I definitely haven't done in the past, and it took actually a severe breakdown in 2022. Part of it was, not dealing with the mental aspect of my heart surgery, as well as dealing with the impact of something that someone did that quite literally threw me into fits and anxiety-induced stuff and anger. And at that point, I ended up taking some time off work because I needed to see a therapist, get my mental health together, and work through it. And even recently, when I went through my separation, one of the first things I did was reach out to my therapist again, because I needed to talk. I needed to get things out, and I needed a neutral party. When it comes to your life, your family, your job, you and yourself, you need to be mentally strong. And heck, even your job can wreck you a bit mentally, and so can, family and friends. So prioritizing your mental health is super, super important. And I highly encourage many of you to just do that. Put your mental health first. Think about the things that are causing unnecessary stress and anxiety in your life, and what can you do about it, right? Whether it's seeing a therapist, whether it's taking a walk, going to the mountains, reading a book, or like what I do sometimes, I'll just sit here and turn on some light piano music and I'll relax. Or I will look at this goofball behind me who has decided to make her bed at this time of night. Actually, she has taken off, if you can see it, the fitted sheet. So yeah, it's kind of funny. But yeah, so take care of your mental health, prioritize it, because no one else is going to do that for you as well. There are people who will take advantage of you when you're down and seek help when you need it. But also in relation to like the first two, setting boundaries and mental health, is do what makes you happy. Too many times we put our own happiness aside to make other people happy. And that in turn can cause resentment. It can cause anger. It can cause a feeling of loneliness. It can cause a feeling of, you're not achieving your own goals. It can make you feel very, very lost and very, very and for me anyway, a few times I felt useless. And I felt like I wasn't ever going to be a success or start enjoying things again. I stopped doing some of the things I loved. And that wasn't good for my mental health either. Because now all of a sudden I wasn't getting out or playing my team sports or doing my photography or even going to the gym on a regular basis. So do what makes you happy, because in reality, don't feel guilty. Is what I mean about don't feel guilty about doing what makes you happy. Because what makes you happy can spread a little bit. And if other people resent you for it, screw them. It's about you. Do what makes you happy, because our life is short. And, I remember just an example of doing what makes you happy. I went quadding in 2020, early 2023, September, I think, and I got into a quadding accident. I love quadding. I hurt myself. I got knocked unconscious for a couple minutes. The quad was destroyed, very destroyed. And at the end of the day, I remember coming back and talking to someone, and they made the comment that if I ever went back and did that again, I'd probably be a single man. Well, no, I enjoy it. I'm gonna do it because I was happy doing it. And yeah, there's risks in everything you do, but I focus on making me happy. And unfortunately, that's not always, the same as other people. And I think the last two things I want to talk about is never feel guilty about standing up for yourself. There are times when you'll feel pressure, you'll get a little bit stressed, or you'll feel like someone is coming at you and attacking you and, pushing you and pushing your boundaries and your limits. Never feel guilty about standing up for yourself as a person, because if not, you're gonna let people walk all over you because you're worried about how they're gonna feel or how they're gonna react, or if it's gonna cause more tension or more of an argumentative state. But don't feel guilty about that, because at the end of the day, if you let that happen, you're not benefiting yourself at all, like whatsoever, right? Whether it's at work, whether it's at home, whether it's in your spare time, whether it's in your priorities. And again, it comes back to those boundaries, right? Stand up for your boundaries. And then the last thing I want to talk about tonight, and this is very, very important because a lot of us don't do this because we feel guilty. We feel like we're imposing on others. And that is, never feel guilty about asking for help. Most times we think we're going to be a burden, or that someone is going to think less of us, or maybe we'll appear weak, or maybe we'll feel way too vulnerable or scared. But the reality of it is, if you don't ask for help, you might never get out of whatever you're going in. And it's, it can lead with your own depression, anxiety, mental health, setting boundaries. It can be something as simple as asking for help to move, asking for help to help clean your home, because sometimes, people need a little help just doing that. Maybe it's a little help taking care of your dog, because a couple times I've had to ask people to watch her for a night or two while I went out or I had things to do. And asking for help has been something I did struggle with for a while, but I got better with it over time, because I knew that if I didn't, I would be stuck in the same spot, or I would never feel better, or never get certain things done. I remember, what was it? I hadn't been eating very well or cooking meals, and I remember reaching out to someone and say, hey, do you mind helping me cook a couple of meals for myself this week so I can have something? And they reached out and they helped me. And I'm a guy who loves to cook, but in that moment, I didn't feel like doing anything. Heck, I think there was a day or two where I didn't eat. And that was a bit of the depression. So ask for help. So these are just 5 tips from me that I've used and gone through. And, and these are 5 things that I no longer feel guilty about doing. And you shouldn't either. Because at the end of the day, I keep saying at the end of the day, and I'm really sorry, it's just a bad habit. But reality is, if you feel guilty about all these things, you're still being more concerned about other people than you are about yourself. And it's okay to show concern for other people, but you got to find a balance and set boundaries. Anyways, that's my chat for tonight. So cheers, and I'll see you on the next one.